Bounce. Wait, rescue? Rescue cuck? What the cuck is that?
Well, another Thanksgiving's in the books, and now it's time to focus on holiday shopping. I'm a really cheap bastard, but I will take a few ducats here and there and put them in gifts for my friends who also really largely enjoy video games, particularly retro games. And so it's with that reason I typically like to visit my Five Below. And this year, when I made my annual sojourn, I noticed, and I don't know why I never saw this before, there's actually a section of the store in the back called Five Beyond. That's right, when you want to be really bougie and get lavish with your spending, you can go past the $5 mark. And so I decided, okay, I've had a really good year. Things are looking good for the year to come. So let's spend a little. As I walked through the section with all sorts of higher priced toys, gadgets, and consumer electronics, I stumbled on this bad boy right there on the shelves. That's right, the retro video game console. That's pretty nebulous, but it intrigued me. And for $10, I said, you know what? Live a little. Let's pick up a couple of these for friends and family. So on the way back from Five Below, I was thinking to myself, these could be interesting subjects for a YouTube video. And so I went to the YouTube and said, does anyone else have videos about this? And it turns out there were a few folks that have covered this device, and they seem to have wondered how the Five Below gets away with selling them, because they appear to be basically bootleg slash pirated NES ROMs. And I found that intriguing because you typically see these at your sketchy flea market or your shady mall stand. But this is the first time I've seen these in a national chain store. So I was kind of intrigued. I noticed the other videos about this device were all full of commenters wondering, well, what's inside it? Can you tear it down? And since it seems to be an unserved request, I figured I'd do y'all a solid and sacrifice one of my very own retro video game consoles. I'm spending $10 on you folks, and let's see what's inside.
So here it is. Here is the retro video game console torn down. As you can see here, we have the controller, and then that wires in through like a little mini NES deck. And if we stop here for a second, just so you know, this is actually empty inside. It's nothing more than a pass-through for this wire, so go figure. Now, what you're really interested in is the breakdown of the main unit itself. Now, you'll see that there is just a little TV screen type plate, and that covers up the internals, of which let's take a look at. It's really basically a single circuit board system covering up the battery compartment. You can actually use AAA batteries or a USB-C input, which is right here. So we have a basic speaker. We have the power comes in through a single circuit board. And this circuit board contains two chips. The circular epoxy covered chip is what's referred to as the Famicom on a chip system, which is used in the Famiclones that you buy at your flea markets and your mall shopping stands, what have you. And the other chip is simply a memory chip used as RAM memory for the system. That's it. There's pretty much nothing else. There's also, as part of most likely the Famicom chip, the driver for a TFT module, the TFT screen, a 2.5-inch TFT that simply connects to the board, of which there are some controls for the TFT screen and reset type buttons for the Famiclone system. Now, unfortunately, this board does not have any outputs or pins from which you could derive a typical AV out. So there will not be any trivial hardware hacks to take the output of this and bring it to a TV screen or a monitor, which is unfortunate, but that's the reality. I guess that's what you get for $10. There you have it, nerds.
So there you go. It's interesting, kind of primitive, but it is what it is. Again, for your greater good, I spent the $10. The least you could do is like and subscribe. I thought that was clever. Maybe you did too. If you did, like and subscribe. Anyhow, let's go ahead. I want to find out what you actually get when you turn this thing on. So let's fish out some AAA batteries from the closet and see what this bad boy has to offer.
All right, so now that we've had fun taking it apart and putting it back together again, let's see how this thing plays. So it looks like it's categorized to different types of games. We'll just start right off with action. And let's see, we've got a couple different games here. We've got Forest Adventure, Rabbit Village, something here, Bounce. Wait, Rescue Cock? What the cuck is that?
Wait a minute. This is Donkey Kong Jr. This is absolutely Donkey Kong Jr. with a pretty low effort palette swap here, and I guess for all intents and purposes, Donkey Kong Jr. is wearing a red and blue leotard with maybe like like one of those headbands like one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles wears, and he appears to be going to rescue what, by all accounts, is a brown Smurf in a square cage. It looks like this has all of the levels that the NES Donkey Kong Jr. has, which is 4 of them, and there are no real changes beyond, again, the palettes have changed and the sprites are redrawn a bit. It, again, doesn't look like much of an effort was put into this. Wow, look at that. At the end of the 4th board, they didn't even bother to swap the palettes for that final animation where Kong falls down and is saved by Junior. Well, now I'm fascinated and need to deep dive into the history of Rescue Cuck, and thankfully, a simple Google search of Rescue Cuck, use that K in cock, folks, otherwise you're not going to get what you're looking for. Anyhow, it brings me to a wiki from something called a Bootleg Games wiki, and it tells me that there is a Chinese company called Inventor, which probably doesn't exist anymore, but was, among other things, largely involved in making bootleg NES games, NES knockoffs. And apparently they were the ones that were behind this. And then doing a deeper dive, you can see this information that Rescue Cuck was actually based on another hack of Donkey Kong Jr. called Turtles 2 from another bootlegger. And now it's apparently using a character referred to as Conte, C-O-N-T-E, which was a character in a different line of bootleg games. This is a tangled web that we weave. Mario is replaced with a sprite edit of the same enemy from the Tom and Jerry game that was used in the bootleg Conti Energy, which itself was a bootleg of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Stay with me, folks. And Donkey Kong here, who we thought was actually a Smurf, is replaced with Newman from Bruce and Leo, which is a Tom and Jerry hack. My goodness gracious, all of the characters' ending sprites are unaltered. As I pointed out earlier, the game has a corrupted rendition of the title screen and ending tune. Wow, just wow. So basically, Rescue Cuck is not as much an intellectual property as is a name that was just arbitrarily given to the theft of a theft of a theft of a game. And that just really just blows my mind, because maybe that is just so far derived from the original in terms of the degrees of separation from the original Nintendo game that they somehow get away with it. Does Nintendo just not care? I don't know, but I do know that I'm fascinated by the idea of a game or a character called Rescue Cuck. Indeed, I go back to the other videos about this topic, and I see that everyone pointed out, ha 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 ha, there's a Rescue Cuck. And then when I YouTube searched on Rescue Cuck, there have been a few folks, one large content creator that looked at it a number of years ago, and boy, everyone thought it was the bee's knees, as they say. So that got me to thinking. If Nintendo doesn't go after Rescue Cuck, why would Nintendo care if I liberate the name of the stolen property? So I made a decision. The company behind the original Rescue Cuck apparently doesn't exist anymore, so why not free the Rescue Cuck? That's right, I've made a decision. I'm going to launch a brand new intellectual property called Rescue Cuck. And what do you do when you have a new intellectual property? Well, gosh darn it, you make merch. And so off to AI I go. So I went ahead and asked illustration of a short man wearing a blue and red leotard with the letters RK rescuing a person that looks like a dark red Smurf who is trapped in a square-shaped cage. I could feel the money rolling around my head. What brilliance is going to result? Well, here were the options I was given. Not bad, but oh, look at that. The lower left. You know what? That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. This is Rescue Cuck. Rescuer of cucks everywhere. I'm sure there's so many stories that can be told. Great for all ages. And a great design, a great brand. Well, what's the quickest, easiest thing to do with your new brand? Make a t-shirt. All right, let's see. Can we just make that a black background perfect for t-shirts? Yes, we can. Wow. I now have my own line of Rescue Cuck t-shirts. Retail chains like Five Below get away with silly, goofy stuff like this because the actual pilfering of Nintendo IP is so obscured by layers of silliness that it's just sometimes maybe not worth it. But there's a really cool idea here. Why don't we create a brand? I don't consider Rescue Cuck my brand. I consider it the People's Rescue Cuck. Something that's a new meme, a new thought, something that would catch on. Perhaps you can try hashtag free Rescue Cuck. Now, you know what? Let's break all the rules, shall we? Let's use hashtag free Rescue Cuck in anything that you're tweeting out. You know, you found a new Chinese restaurant? Hashtag free Rescue Cuck. You got a new pair of shoes that you think would be really great? Hashtag free Rescue Cuck. You just had a root canal. You're in pain. Hashtag free Rescue Cuck. Let's just spread the hashtag everywhere. Make it a cool insider thing that if you know, you know. And of course, feel free to buy one of these t-shirts. And look, I'm going to be completely 100 with you guys. Here's the thing. I'm not giving the money to charity. No, that would be dishonest, and that's something we don't do here. I'm just going to come right at you straight between the eyes. I'm going to probably make about $5 per shirt that I sell, and if 1,000 of you hipster nerds think this would be the coolest thing to wear at your next LAN party, then you know what? I could get myself a nice, complete in box Little Samson, because that's going to set me back about $5,000. As always, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time on It's All Dug in Games.